And I know we've still got some folks joining and others who are going to be right back. But my name is Holly Morello, and I am the TDM program manager at OmniRide. Very simply defined, TDM is the science behind getting cars off the road. And my partner, Lakeisha, and I do that primarily through two programs that I manage, that being the rideshare and the employer outreach programs. I think you all saw, but I wanted to let everyone know that the call is being recorded, and that recording is going to be found out on the OmniRide website underneath the council's page. And then two additional housekeeping items. We do have a translation service available, and it's called Wordly. Here's the information on how to access that if that's something that you need. And last but not least, we are going to wait on the Q&A till the end of the call and not after every presentation. So write your questions down if you have them, and then we'll have those questions answered at the end. And with that, I wanted to quickly go through the agenda and let folks know that first up is Joe Stainsby. He is the Chief Development Officer at OmniRide. Then next, I'm so pleased to introduce Jennifer Ibarra. She is the Business Services Consultant at Elevate CareerWorks. And then we've got Gabriella Serrato from CASA, and then Eugene Brown from the Chamber of Commerce. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Joe to get us started.
All right. Thank you very much, Holly. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Good morning. Happy June 27th for everybody. Hope everyone's not been sweating too much the last couple of weeks because it's been warm. So my name's Joe Stainsby. I'm the Chief Development Officer here at OmniRide. I oversee our TDM team, which Holly ably heads up. I also oversee our planning and marketing teams as well. I'm very happy to be on the call this morning. Some folks I recognize, some folks are new, and that's great. That's what we want to see here. You know, the mobility councils, of which there are three. There's this one. There's also the employer council, and then also the van pool council. Holly mentioned our mobility councils page on our website. You will find all three of them on there. They all meet twice a year, and we tend to post the most recent video and any kind of associated presentations or anything like that. Holly also mentioned the live translation service for Spanish or anything else, really, like 15, 16 different languages that you can access by looking in the chat. I put the link in there. So yeah, the mobility councils were kind of formed out of OmniRide's desire a few years ago to really pivot from what we had become, which was an agency that kind of, you know, told people what we thought our service should be in the areas that we thought it should be in, and in the manners and methods that we thought it should exist. And we wanted to pivot from that to being an organization that really had much more community input, right? So through our strategic plan, recommended the creation of these three mobility councils, right? And this is where we stand today. So we try to meet them twice a year. And I'm going to go through now just some of the things that we've done this fiscal year. Our fiscal year is up at the end of this month. And so it seemed like a very opportune moment to kind of recap some of the efforts that we have made, you know, over the course of this year to really reach out to the community. In the case of this council, specifically the Hispanic community. And so I'm just going to take a few moments to walk through that stuff. So Holly, you can go ahead and go to the next slide, please. So a little bit of background here. I just kind of touched on this. You know, we really wanted to work on improving our ridership with the kind of key demographic that doesn't typically ride our buses. You know, the Latino community is generally not big users of our buses, and we have found out that that's because of a lack of familiarity in all of with our services, because we didn't have our schedules available in Spanish. We didn't advertise, you know, in places where we came across Spanish speakers, and a lot of concern from a lot of quarters about being able to pay for the bus service, or, you know, how much was it going to cost. And so for anybody that doesn't know, quick plug, since March of 2020, all of our local bus services have been free. They remain that to this day. And they, all of our local bus services, our commuter bus services, there are still fares for those, but our local bus service, which does also include our express routes, into the metro where people can access the urban core, those are all free. And right now they will be that way at least until June the 30th of 2025. We have an annual budgeting process, and every year we have to go through this. But as a matter of policy, we like to try and be free on the local side, because we feel like having a $2 fare or something like that on the local side is generally a much larger proportion of someone's income who typically rides that service versus the $7 or $9 fare that we have in our commuter service, for most people of which it's either a very small percentage of their income or frankly 0% of their income, because it is covered by the federal transportation benefit that is provided by the federal government. So as a matter of policy, we have been fare free for about 4 and a bit years. And so we really had been lacking in our outreach kind of to that community. And so we decided that we really wanted to make sure that we did that. Next slide, please. So we've also introduced over the last year some really interesting ways of interacting with our service, right? Typically speaking, we operate fixed route bus service. There's a schedule. You show up at the stop and it comes at that time and it takes you to where that bus says it's going to go to. Well, we've also implemented what we call a microtransit service. And what you see on your screen there in those two very weird looking blobs is the green one being over in Manassas and Manassas Park, and the one on the right, the blue one, being the one that operates in Dumfries, which is the much newer one. This is an Uber-like or Lyft-like service. You interact with it through your phone, through an app. That app is going to be available in English, Spanish, Farsi, Urdu, any myriad of languages. So the idea is that, it's for maybe people who are more technologically savvy, they're maybe not comfortable speaking to people on the phone. They can interact with this service on an app. And as long as you are within that area, you can take a trip from the corner near you, or an aggregation point that's near you, to another point that's in the zone. It's designed to kind of fill the gaps in our service in a very non-threatening way. And also, because it is also considered local service, it is also, say it with me, free, right? So I encourage everybody to download the OmniRide mobility app bless you, Holly, on the App Store or the Google Marketplace. And you can interact with that if you need to be moving around in the Dumfries area, or between Dumfries and the town of Quantico, or you're over in the Manassas Park area. This is really a service that we are looking to implement in areas where we do not have existing fixed route service. It's an interesting way to see kind of what the demand is for local service in a flexible and cost-effective way. That also, because of the natural kind of language translation stuff that's built into your iPhone and built into your Android platform, allows us to interact quite well with non-native English speakers. Next slide, please, Holly. This is just a very quick representation of the fact that, as crazy as it might seem to folks, up until a couple of years ago, we didn't have all of our schedules in Spanish, right? We now do, right? I would encourage everybody, if you want your most recent schedule, go to our website, which again is a website that has language translation software enabled in it. So for, I think, 13 different languages, of which Spanish is one of them. And you can get the most current schedule. Other than that, we do have physical schedules, which we produce all of them now in English and Spanish. Next slide, please, Holly. So this is kind of the fun stuff. And this is, you'll see recurring themes in these pictures. You'll see a lot of people in the portfolio that I manage, mostly Holly and Lakeisha in these pictures, but in the bottom second from the right, I think that's Ivana there. And in the bottom left, that's actually our executive director, Bob Schneider, standing with Ivana, I believe, at the Manassas Latino Festival. So some of these are extremely recent, like a CASA, social services event that Holly and Lakeisha attended, which had truly fantastic weather conditions. And that was just a couple of weeks ago. The Georgetown Latino Fest, Georgetown South, is a housing complex over in the Manassas area that has a very high Latino population. We have good service over there, and we have bad ridership over there. So we have worked very closely with them to try and increase the awareness of our services. In fact, just yesterday, our marketing department was actually out in that development, handing out, I think, just under 1,000 door tags promoting our service. And in fact, you can see those in the far right-hand corner there, top right-hand corner, the Georgetown door tag. So anyone who's, I think I saw Mr. Castro or maybe someone representing Mr. Castro join as well. We have the Todos outreach as well out there. They've been wonderful partners for us. To get out our message, and we are extremely thankful to have them as a partner with OmniRide. And we also did that's a picture of the Americana grocery store on Route 1 in Woodbridge, and we also had a fantastic outreach that day at the Todos grocery store, also a bit further down Route 1. I think you can see a little girl there who looks like she's dressed as Wednesday Addams. We had many hundreds, probably over 1,000 people that we interacted with on those two locations, and we will be doing the Halloween Fest again this year. Hopefully it will be like 30 degrees colder because it was about 90 that day, which is very challenging for people trying to hand out chocolate. So that's definitely a thing. Holly, next slide, please. So hopefully what folks can see there is that we've really tried to kind of pivot on our heels and do as much community outreach as we can, right? But we don't know what we don't know, right? So a lot of this is kind of us humbly asking the folks that are part of the community, the folks specifically on this call, right? If you have events that you would maybe like us to attend, or you have places and things that you're doing that you think we might be interested in attending, we almost certainly would be interested in attending them. So please reach out to myself or Holly or Lakeisha, and we will make sure that we are attending those things. You know, we've done what we can to advertise in different places. I think Holly was actually interviewed on a relatively popular local Spanish language radio station talking about our services. These are things that are somewhat outside of the box for us. We've tended to be kind of very staid and tried and true in our outreach, but we've really been trying to kind of push our boundaries. And so either in this forum today or at any point, right? You know, we want you to kind of bring that information to us, right? We stood up these councils several years ago, right? And we were really driving them. We were creating the content, we were pushing it kind of into people's faces, whether they wanted to or not in some cases, right? But what we've really tried to do, and today is a great example of that, is to pivot to simply facilitating them as opposed to driving them, right? We want this to be a forum for important individuals, important events, important charitable organizations in the Prince William County area to come and present their ideas to each other, to us. This is not something where we always want to be going on about what OmniRide is doing and this, that, and the other. We are meant to just be kind of part of the constellation of stars that makes up the outreach to the Latino community. And so please, we do very much need your involvement. I thank you all for being on the phone today. And I think that's actually it for my slides. So I believe that last slide is the questions, which I think we are going to take at the end. So what you have there is my contact information. I think almost all of you have Holly's and Lakeisha's, otherwise you wouldn't have found your way to the call today. But certainly, thank you so very much for being part of what we do, because otherwise it'd just be three of us on this call and it would not be useful. So thank you very much.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing. And while Jennifer is queuing up her presentation, I'll also take this opportunity to thank you all again for joining. And very specifically, thank you so much again to Jennifer, Gabriella, and Eugene for presenting today. And like Joe said, if there's folks on the call today that would like to present sometime, that they have a message that they want to get out, please reach out to me. And we do this council twice a year virtually. We'd love to have you on. And I see Gabriella's presentation. It looks beautiful. I'm not Gabriella's, Jennifer. I'm sorry, Jennifer. You are up.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm excited to be here. I haven't attended the council meeting, the Hispanic Council Meeting before, so I'm learning a bunch. I've known about OmniRide, of course. I mean, how could you not? But I mean, I didn't know the fares were free, for the local route. So that's just, I'm really excited to be here, and because then we can share this information to others as well. But I'll introduce myself. My name is Jennifer Ibarra, for those of you who don't know me. I'm with a fantastic employment and training program called Elevate. We're underneath an umbrella of employment and training, employment and training provider, I guess you could say, called Virginia CareerWorks. And I'm going to talk about Virginia CareerWorks today. I'm going to talk about Elevate. I'm going to talk about some other partner programs that we have with Virginia CareerWorks, and just employment. Employer services, so to speak, business services that we offer to the business community, and job seeker services. We offer both to the population of Northern Virginia, as well as the rest of Virginia too. But that's like a whole other story. I'm going to mainly focus on Northern Virginia today. So let's get started. But I know I mentioned I'm with Elevate. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But again, we are underneath the umbrella of something called Virginia CareerWorks. And I want to explain what that is specifically. Some of y'all may have heard of us, maybe not. And so what is Virginia CareerWorks? Virginia CareerWorks is a network of employment and training centers located throughout Virginia. Now we have 5 centers specifically in Northern Virginia. So I have a little map. You'll see Leesburg, one in Annandale, one in kind of the northern part of Alexandria, one in the southern part of Alexandria, and then one in fabulous Woodbridge, kind of near the DMV, kind of by like Minnieville Road in that area. So I'm going to have the addresses for all these centers as well as the phone number at the end of this presentation. And so that way, if you're interested in checking us out and visiting us, which you're highly encouraged to do so, you'll be able to see what our hours are and that kind of thing. But I want to talk a little bit about the kinds of services we offer to job seekers at these services. As I mentioned, I'm going to kind of pivot between the job seeker services and the business services throughout this presentation. We offer both. I might even focus a little more on the job seeker services today. But some of these services, I'll probably say this again later, but some of them, it's kind of hard to say, well, this is a job seeker service and this is an employer services. Some of them honestly overlap and benefit both the employer and the job seeker. Now, if a job seeker were to walk into one of the Virginia CareerWorks centers, what can they find? What kind of services can they get? Well, I'll tell you today. So let's say you have a job seeker, they might be underemployed or unemployed, and they're looking for a job. What is an employer going to ask for? 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to ask for a resume from that job seeker. Sometimes it's just, copy and paste your experience into an application online or a portal kind of thing. A lot of times employers are going to want a resume, or even maybe an employment center might want a resume, so then they can forward your resume to a job, an employer who's hiring. So having that resume is an important part of the job seeker process. But maybe your resume is out of date. Maybe you don't have a resume, and you need help. You can come to our any of our 5 centers. You can walk in. Some of them you can make an appointment ahead of time. We even offer this resume assistance virtually too, and you can sign up for that ahead of time as well. And so you can get resume assistance. Now, we're not going to write your resume for you, which I think all of us would love it if somebody wrote our resume for us, because that's just, not the funnest time. But, we are going to look at, if you have an existing resume, we're going to look at the resume, give you feedback, see like, give you any formatting suggestions, see if there's any typos and that kind of thing. And then, you can work on the resume, you can come back to us and we can go over it again. And so those are the kinds of services we offer. We also offer interview coaching, which I highly recommend to anybody who's in the job seeking process, anybody in the job application process. Like, I've had interview coaching, made such a big difference. You could be the most qualified candidate for a job, but if you don't interview well, you might not get the job. And so interview coaching, even if you think you don't need it, I highly recommend it. It's a big recommendation on my part. And that's a service people can get at these centers as well. Other kinds of services people can get, let's say you're somebody who is not comfortable with navigating the computer. A lot of things are online these days. Most applications, so many applications are online these days, and so many vacancies are posted online. But that can be a little bit hard for people. So if that's a little hard for you, you can come to our centers and ask for help with navigating the web and uploading your information to an application portal. Now, these are some of the services we can offer to any job seeker in Virginia who's just, you could live in Woodbridge, but if you want to go to the Annandale office, that's fine. You could live in Leesburg. If you want to go to the Alexandria office, that's fine. It's not like they're going to ask, like, where do you live? Like, you can go to any of our centers and we'll happily assist you. Something I'll comment is that we have these services for any of our job seekers, but what I'm going to talk about on the next slide is we also have specific, what I call, employment and training programs, such as Elevate or such as the WIOA program. I'm going to talk about these momentarily. We have these specific programs that, what I call, provide more intensive job seeker support services to job seekers in Virginia. So let's dive into what that looks like and what these different programs are. So as I mentioned, top of the list, that wasn't necessarily a biased thing, but on top of the list, we have Elevate. I'll talk about that a little bit in a bit. kind of who qualifies to receive Elevate services, who may not. But we have a ton of other programs that we partner with. A lot of these programs offer the same services as Elevate. Some of them offer similar services as Elevate. A lot of these programs that you'll see on the screen fall underneath the umbrella of Virginia CareerWorks. Some of them do not, but some of them are just so good, I couldn't not mention them. For example, we have second to the last, we have Virginia Values Veterans. That's a separate program. You guessed it, they help veterans. You guessed it, they help employers connect with veterans. But let's say you're an employer and you get Virginia Values Veterans certified. Now, if you hire a veteran, you might be able to get like a financial kind of payment kind of thing because you hired that veteran. And so there's tons of job seeker services, and that's kind of what I mean as an example of a job seeker service and an employer service that benefits both the job seeker and the employer. But a lot of these programs that exist are targeted towards specific populations, and so you'll see third on the list, either seniors community services employment program. That's if you're 55 and up, you need assistance getting a job, we can kind of assign you to like a work site to do kind of like a volunteer, like a paid volunteer experience, with the idea, you're putting something on your resume, gaining new skills. And so these programs kind of, again, vary in the kinds of services that they offer. So you don't have to memorize this list by any means. But because you may, Elevate's a great program, but you might want to explore services in our other programs, definitely hit me up and let me know. I'm happy to have a call with you outside of this and kind of give you more information, more detail, because this is just a high level overview that I'm doing today. So let's talk about, I kind of been drawing it out a little bit like Elevate, I've kind of been alluding to Elevate, but that is the program that I specifically work with. So I want to tell you all about Elevate and what it is. So we are an American Rescue Plan Act, or that's where we receive our funding from, the American Rescue Plan Act. We are an initiative of Prince William Economic Development, and we serve, again, job seekers and employers. Now, I want to be specific. We only serve job seekers, or not only, like if you're a job seeker, basically, how do I explain it? I guess you could say we do only serve job seekers who live in Prince William County and whose employment has been impacted by the pandemic. So unfortunately, if you're a Manassas Park job seeker, or your City of Manassas job seeker, or your Fairfax County, Alexandria City, we cannot provide our intensive job seeker services. We might be able to send you some job leads here or there, but we can't provide our more intensive job seeker services unless you live in Prince William County and your employment has been impacted by the pandemic. We also offer employment services or employer services to businesses in Prince William County as well. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. And Elevate, as I mentioned, we receive funding from the American Rescue Plan Act. So that's kind of why I keep bringing up the pandemic, because that's kind of our origin story. And so because of that, we were designed to be a short-term program. We go away on October 31st, 2024. At that point, Elevate will no longer exist in the way that we've been offering our services as of late. Maybe we'll try to continue to do something in some capacity, but not in the way that we are currently offering services. But that's honestly part of the reason why I'm talking so much about our other partner programs, is because I know we have a sort of deadline, but I don't want anybody to think like, well, like, why are you offering, why are you presenting about Elevate today? Because we have so many fabulous partner programs that we already work with and that Virginia CareerWorks provides, where employers and job seekers can access, again, the same or similar services. So just because Elevate's going away on October 31st doesn't mean job seeker services are going away, and it doesn't mean employer services are going away. It just means this the services offered through this specific grant will cease to exist as of October 31st, 2024. But let's talk about the services we offer, because again, a lot of these services are offered through our partner programs as well. So what are they? We have something called the paid work experience, or the work experience. We call this a WEX sometimes. If you hear that, that's what it's referring to, WEX, a WEX. We love our acronyms in the government. But so let's talk about the paid work experience. So this is, you can kind of think of this as an internship. And again, like a lot of some of our partner programs offer the same thing, specifically the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act program, also known as WIOA or WIOA. They offer a work experience too. So again, just because Elevate's going away doesn't mean job seekers can't possibly obtain a work experience through one of our partner programs. But what is the work experience? It's kind of like a paid internship. So let's say we have a participant who's enrolled in Elevate, or a job seeker who's enrolled in Elevate, and maybe they've been out of the workforce for some time and they're trying to get back into the workforce and gain some experience. We can assign them to a work site. We can make an agreement with an employer in the area and say, we have a job seeker, we're going to assign them to your work site. Now, this is not the same thing as somebody being hired. This job seeker is not getting on payroll. And so they're just assigned to this work site. They're gaining experience and new skills. And Elevate is paying them a stipend of $15 an hour during this time. These work experiences last about 10 weeks. And participants can participate up to 32 hours a week in this work experience. So that definitely how do you explain benefits the job seeker, but again, they gain new skills. It's something to put on their resume, something recent. They can get a reference. They can get a little money in their pockets at the same time. Some of the employers take these opportunities as a trial for the job seeker. They might say like, oh, we know we're going to hire, or we have a vacancy, but I kind of want to test this person out first. Let's see if they show up on time, if they dress well to work, and all that kind of stuff. And so it's a good opportunity for the employer as well. And we do have employers are under no obligation to hire the job seeker or the participant after the work experience is done. They're definitely welcome to. That would be great because we ultimately want all of our job seekers to find employment. But a lot of employers are like, oh, I'm not looking to hire anybody, but maybe I can offer this service to the community as a service to let somebody get like a little extra experience and learn some new skills. And again, it benefits everybody. Now we have something called on the job training, which I kind of think of as a level up from the work experience, because this is a scenario where the job seeker is hired. They're put on the payroll. Oops, my light went off, the automatic light, sorry about that. But again, this is a case where the job seeker is hired by the employer. And so with on the job training, this kind of looks like the employer makes an agreement with Elevate in advance. Basically, like, we're hiring your participant, and before that person's first day, we're going to make an agreement with you. And Elevate is going to say we can reimburse the employer up to $5,000. You heard that, $5,000 of this job seeker's initial salary. And so what does that look like? And we do that at about a 50% rate of payment. So what does that look like? Let's say the job seeker, Joe Smith, earns $2,000 on his first month of work from Walmart, and Walmart will turn around and tell Elevate at the end of that first month, we paid Joe Smith $2,000 in September. Then Elevate's going to reimburse that employer half of that salary amount, $1,000, and we're going to do this month after month until we get close to that $5,000 amount. And the idea of this is because if you're an employer, or even if you just heard in the news, hiring, the cost to hire and bring on a new person, it's very, very expensive. You might have somebody put in there 2 weeks, so you have a vacancy, you have to post the vacancy, you have to take the time to interview people, and then you have to do the background checks. Then you have to take the time to onboard and train that person through human resources or other training programs. And so it can cost employers thousands of dollars to bring on a new person. And so the idea of the on the job training is to help offset the cost of onboarding. And so again, it benefits the job seeker because now they have a job, benefits the employer as well because they're getting a little bit of help without those onboarding expenses. And it's kind of a win-win for everybody. Again, this is something Elevate offers, but some of our partner programs like the WRA program offers it too. So just because Elevate's leaving doesn't mean that employers or job seekers cannot access this anymore. Let's talk about income at work. I know I'm kind of flying through this the screens, but I'm happy to talk about this content in more detail with anybody who wants to meet with me, in a separate call. I'm going to have my contact information at the end of this presentation, and I'll be around for some questions too. Income at work training. This is a service that we do offer specifically to employers. It's not really a job seeker service, but this is a thing where, let's say you are an employer and you need to pay for some employees or even just one employee to get a credential or get a certification in something. It could be an OSHA 10 certification. That could be a CDL, certification or, training. Basically, you would pay for that training, and we would make an agreement ahead of time, but we would make an agreement with the employer, and Elevate would reimburse the employer for part of the cost of the training. That could be 50% of the training up to 90% of the training cost, depending on the size of the business. And so there are, of course, some steps like the employee would have to pass the certification in order for Elevate to reimburse the employer. If they fail the certification exam, then we unfortunately cannot reimburse the employer. But if we make the agreement to do this income at worker training reimbursement, and then the employee does the certification, they take the exam, they pass it, then we would go ahead and we would reimburse the employer, and it'd be up to $5,000 per employee. Now we have other things that we offer both the job seekers and the employers. We offer, we put on job fairs and hiring events. We help employers promote their hiring events as well. I want to just mention some dates. We're going to have actually a healthcare job fair on Wednesday, July 17th in Woodbridge at the AJA Palazzo building from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're looking at having a multi-industry job fair on September 11th, but also a Wednesday, probably in also in the AJ Palazzo building in Woodbridge. And we're even going to have a transitioning military and government contractor job fair on October 23rd. That's going to be at the National Museum of the Marine Corps in Triangle. And so I'm going to repeat those dates: healthcare job fair July 17th, multi-industry job fair September 11th, and then transitioning military and government contractor job fair October 23rd. And that last one will be the final job fair of Elevate. But yeah, again, hit me up if you want information on that, information on how to register. I should have put the link here, but I can send it to you happily over email. But yeah, these are for job seekers and employers. So, if you're a healthcare employer and you're kind of looking to hire, let me know, because we could possibly feature you at our job fair. Now, I'm kind of flying through everything. We do have something called, I'm sorry, these are the Virginia Career Works addresses that I mentioned. So you'll see like the Woodbridge address, the hours, the phone number, because I'm going to have my contact information on the next slide. And you're welcome to email me with any questions about any of the programs. And if for whatever reason I don't know the answer, I can connect you with the person who does. But whether you're a job seeker, whether you're an employer, you can also call up any of our Virginia Career Works offices on this screen. You could call the one closer to you. You could call the one in a different area. If you're like, hey, I'm an employer and I have some vacancies, like, can you help me out? And we can definitely, the person who answers the phone might not be the person to solve the problem, but they can definitely connect you with the person who can. And again, you don't have to be an employer. You could be a job seeker, like, hey, I need help with my resume. Can you help me out? Call us up and we'll tell you, to come on in. And so I also put our website here, https://vcwnorthern.com, and you're welcome to check it out as well. But this is some contact information for Elevate. The first email is elevatejobseekers@vcwnorthern.com. That's if you're a job seeker or case manager and you want to request a copy of the application to apply for Elevate. Please email that email. This second email is my email address, so feel free to email me if you have questions about this presentation, or you want to set up a call. I'd love to talk with you more. It's elevateemployers@vcwnorthern.com. I think I've gone over my time and got a lot of info, but I'll stick around. I have to leave the meeting a little early because I have a training at 10, but I'll be around for a little bit of time. But thank you all so much for checking us out.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. That was awesome. Great information. And Gabby, feel free to start sharing your screen. I see that you're there. We've got Gabriela Serrato from CASA up next. And then we'll finish up with Eugene Brown from the Chamber.
Okay, let me try to share my screen really quick.
Beautiful.
Jennifer, quick question.
Yes.
Do you guys hire high school students?
We have programs specifically. I would say yes and no. Yes. The short answer is yes. Yes.
Okay, awesome. I just want to know because I got some cousins that are graduating. And are you guys based in California at all or no?
We have similar programs in California. So like the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act program is a national program, and that's where the VCW receives a lot of its funding. There's probably WIOA out in California.
Awesome.
I'm going to put my email in the chat as well.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, Gabby, we can see it.
Okay, awesome.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. So hi everyone, my name is Gabriela Serrato. I am CASA's education manager. And with me, I also have Christian Martinez. And we are here to speak about CASA, a little bit of CASA services and who we are. First and foremost, CASA, it is a nonprofit organization that is passionate, community conscious, and works to organize, advocate for, and expand opportunities for Latino and immigrant people in the states of Maryland, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Virginia. We do this by providing employment placement, workforce development, training, healthcare education, citizenship classes, legal services, financial, language, and literacy training, not only for Latinos, but also for anyone who is within the immigrant community. So far, CASA has 4 main pillars. The first one is health and social services, and we are committed to provide eligible members equity and comprehensive access to vital healthcare, mental health, food assistance, and other resources. As of right now, we do have a partnership with Centara, and which Centara comes to our site once a month, and we provide healthcare, especially the screenings or preventive screenings. And we also have a partnership with Kaiser in which we provide health insurance for our community members completely free. Our following pillar, it is the immigration services, and that is where we have community members seeking us to do their naturalization process, citizenship classes, driver's privilege cards, classes, civic engagement exams, mock interviews, and things like that. And during tax seasons, we provide taxes since we are a VITA site facility, which means, so anyone who gets paid under 64K, they can come and do their taxes completely free.
Look, Gabriella, the slides aren't moving.
Oh, no,
I
yeah.
think you might need to be in presentation mode.
Oh, can you see it now?
We can see only the first screen.
Okay, that's so weird. Okay, let me try and reshare it. Can you see this one?
Yeah, we can only see the opening slide. It's not moving.
I
for
think maybe because it's a
presentation.
PDF, you'll actually, on the left-hand side of the screen, you maybe
Ah.
will have to manually click through the slides as you go.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe Gabriella, I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you were on slide 3, but we're still seeing slide 1.
Okay, I'm trying to be on the slide 2, but it's not letting me change.
Okay.
Either way, I know like I did share my presentation with you, Holly.
Yeah, I have it, but it's a PDF. But let me see. Try unsharing, and I'll see if I can do it from here.
Okay, let me. Okay.
Okay, then I will do. And let me see. Yeah, it's not moving for me either.
Not even if you click that down arrow, Holly?
Yeah, not even if I, nope, here we
There you
go. Okay. And are you on this one now, Gabriella?
I'm on the second one.
So go back here. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like I was mentioning, I am the community education manager and I oversee 2 programs. The first one is for youth education, and then the other one it is for adult education. In the youth education, we have a program called Mi Espacio, which is an after-school program for high schoolers, anyone between the ages of 14 all the way to 19. And in this program, we focus on college readiness, trade schools, civic engagement through volunteering, tutoring, mentoring, and any type of academic achievements. We host Mi Espacio at 2 high schools. The first one it is in Garfield, and then the second one it is in Forest Park. As of right now, we are thinking about expanding Mi Espacio to a 3rd high school, which is in Unity Reed. Aside from this, we also have a partnership with the 21st Century in which we go to a local high school to provide workshops on STEMs. And we also have an active partnership with the Global Welcome Center. As of right now, we are collaborating with the center to provide services, especially throughout the registration process. So we do the first process here, and then we connect with the Global Welcome Center so they can proceed with the registration. One of the things and why we decided to do this is because most of our community members come to us first instead of like going to the Welcome Center, whether it is because they don't have the transportation or because the site it is closer to them. Oh, And then you can move to the next slide so we can see a little bit of Mi Espacio. We have one of my Americors working with Mi Espacio kids. Since we have a holistic approach in Mi Espacio, we try to engage with the student, mom, and also their counselors. And through that, we create some type of plans, like your career plan, whether it is to identify if the student is going to college or if they want to go to a trade schools. Based on that plan, we create a map and we try to figure out if the student is gonna graduate on time, if they need a GED, if they have to take any type of testings, especially for colleges admissions and any type of things that they might need along the way. My department was the first one to advocate for BATSA in this school year. And BATSA, it is the Virginia Alternative Financial Assistance, which is completely different than FATSA, and BATSA is for students who have a DACA recipient status or asylum status, or anyone who might not have a legal status. Aside from that, we also advocate for the tuition equity provision, which is for students who do not have a legal status and they need to be considered to be in-state students, because students who do not have a legal status, they are considered to be like out-of-state students. And one of the things that we are trying to do is like break those barriers, especially when it comes to financial assistance for them, because there's not enough. As we are talking about Mi Espacio, I'm also happy to share that we were able to put 12 students to colleges. So we work with admissions. We did the SAT exams. We also do resumes and everything, and they were able to be accepted. So those are my babies right now. And if we are talking a little bit more about the other Mi Espacio students, those students who are not graduating yet, we were able to improve their attendance to 70 or 75%, which is amazing, especially in Prince William County. Since, as we all know, Prince William County has the highest dropout rate. So anything that is above 60%, that is an improvement for us, especially for first generation students or newcomers. And then on the other side, we also have adult education, which we provide, those are the highlights of Mi Espacio, as I did mention, and this is ESOL. So for ESOL, we provide English classes, and that is 4 times a week from Monday through Thursdays from 7 to 9 p.m. We have multiple levels, going from basic all the way to 2A or 3B. If that is the case, we also provide virtual classes for higher levels. Once our students reach our levels, we try to connect them with NOVA, because that is the goal. Most of our students come to us to better their English language skills, or because they want to like have better opportunities within their jobs. In most cases, we have seen that their supervisors, they do pay for their classes because they want their person to improve throughout their careers. Most of our students, they do take like a placement test, and based on that, we create our curriculum. Our curriculum, it is based on 3 goals, and based on the goals that the students provide us, we try to work around and we provide those tools for the students. If we can move a little bit to the other slide, that will be perfect. Most of our students, they do come from the working class, students who work in constructions, blue collars. And one of the beauty of ESOL is, and we see these students coming straight to work, and they come to our classrooms. So you can see that they are here to like learn. Most of our students, they wake up at 4 a.m. and they have to be here at 7, and they leave here at 9. They do take public transportation, so they take any type of informal transportation, which is not ideal for them. And one of the things that I learned, well, as I'm speaking about my students, I just came to realization that at the beginning of the year, I found out that Prince William has public transportation, which is completely free. Thank you, Holly, for sharing that information. And I do wish that many of our community members knew about that, especially my students. For instance, after I found out about it, I had to create like a workshop for Mi Espacio students. And the first thing that I asked them was, do you know your first, how to take the bus? They were like, no. And I was like, do you know where your next or like nearest bus stop is? They were like, no. So we had to create a map, and we even had to like made a field trip to DC in which we had to take public transportation. We had to learn how to navigate those systems. And it was a completely eye-opening experience because we realized that my students, they also faced the language barrier. They didn't know how to ask questions or directions. So we had to figure that out. And even with my ESO students, not many of them are fully aware of the public transportation or what are the schedules. So we are going back and forth and creating those type of resources for them or bringing literature to them. Like I did mention, most of our students, since they are not fully aware of public transportations and how to take the bus, they do realize on informal type of transportation, which is not reliable because in most of the cases they do risk their lives, especially when they are not taking Ubers or they're taking any rides from any stranger. We have some cases, but as I'm speaking about this, I also want to like bring light into the fact that we need a bus stop near our site, especially because we have community members who are older adults or they might have some type of needs. In fact, most of my students, my little ones, mi espacio, who are minors, they have almost gotten run over by distractor drivers because they do have to cross intersection. So things like that. I wish we can talk a little bit about it down the line. Maybe we can identify areas in which we need more bus stops, especially for those areas in which we see services or individuals coming to us. For instance, we have community members who had to take 3 buses and they do have to walk 2 blocks just to come to us to our site and seek for services. I feel like that is the only site that I had to talk about services, but I know I have Christian with me and he will talk a little bit more about the 4th pillar, which is community advocacy. So yeah, thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Gabby. My name is Christian Martinez. I am the research and policy analyst here at CASA. And yeah, to touch it, I really cover the members' priorities and anything we advocate in the advocacy department comes from the members and is voted by the members. And I'll mainly be touching on one of those issues. And one of the issues that they brought up was safe streets or improving the transportation and walkability, as well as having climate infused into the campaign. Right now, this is my second call being one of these meetings, and so thank you again for the invitation. We're currently working on our climate portfolio, which is building off of the Safe Streets campaign, which I discussed at the last one, talking about lowering traffic accidents happening in the area, as well as projects that are being underfunded or being currently implemented. And so in the coming months, we're just getting information on seeing which projects have been completed and whether or in construction or have been paused due to it being underfunded. The areas that we've been focusing on and working on is Fairfax, Prince William County, and Richmond City, and seeing where our members are mainly at, and that's where they want us to really focus in on. The goals are really to address and seeing what are the unsafe and underdeveloped areas to ensure that the county finishes the projects as well as increases the safety and walkability into the community. Because that's more important. And if we can get lower the amount of cars that are going in the area and increase the amount of people going on the buses, that also has a very big environmental impact that'll be good on the long run of things. So yeah, we're currently working on ways to enhance the campaign and strengthen the community in the county. And can you hit the next slide, please? And yeah, so the main goals, I touched about it a little bit on it last time, but kind of to circle back on it. One of the main goals is really just eliminate traffic crashes happening on Route 1 and just lower the traffic congestion that's happening. And traffic can be really bad in the morning and just in general. And so we're just figuring out ways and how we can do that. And so we'll be looking into that and seeing what works and how we can move that forward. allocating funds to put crosswalks and pedestrian walk signs. We're just gonna see where the projects are currently and seeing where we can really put some work in on that. Addressing families' concerns, what's happening in Fredland Middle School. These were conversations we were having from our organizing department in terms of where our members were having some concerns at, mainly because there really wasn't a lot of things that they weren't feeling comfortable with. And so this was one of the main first spots we were really looking at and seeing how we can improve it. And so that's going to be one of the things we're going to be moving forward with in just making it more safer, especially since it's in a school area as well, where there's going to be a lot of kids and families walking through every day. Inserting bike lanes on Route 1, allowing pedestrians to choose other options, lowering the amount of cars. This goes back into saying just decreasing the amount of cars that are in the area by increasing the amount of public transportation options. That's pretty much the number one thing. Vision Zero was one of the things that we've been looking at that Richmond and Fairfax kind of have implemented already, which like their main goal is really to eliminate traffic fatalities in the area, which was brought by a study in Sweden, I believe, which its main goal was really to just eliminate traffic fatalities in the area. And so just looking at those plans and seeing what Prince William County can implement, because they don't have any sort of plan of that. Fairfax kind of made their own plan. Richmond City really duplicated the plan from Sweden. And so we'll see what Prince William County can do and seeing if they can implement their own version of that. Let's see if we can go to the next slide, please. Safer Prince William County. That's really the main points. The next couple of months, we're really going to try to get more information in terms of what we see can work in the county and how we can better improve the community. And so thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for sharing that. Much appreciated. And we will absolutely continue our partnership, Gabby, and continue the conversations. I'm going to stop sharing this one and start sharing Eugene's. I know we're butting up against 10 o'clock, everyone. But
I'll be efficient and expeditious.
As you always are. You're the best. So here we go. Let me see what I can do here.
So
here we go.
There you go. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Eugene Brown. I'm the community outreach manager here with the Prince William Chamber. And the two greatest things I love talking about, transportation and the chamber. So now that I'm on here on the transportation side, I get to talk a little bit about the chamber. So pretty much my whole objective today was really for the guests here today to get familiar with our Hispanic Council. And just a quick, brief overview about the chamber. Since 2010, we've become two chambers that represented the county to now one unified chamber that pretty much wraps the whole county and including the two cities of Manassas and Manassas Park. And our new office will be opening up relatively soon in the city of Manassas, over by where our old office was, but just a little bit further down the road, across the street from the True Hotel, right next door to the True Hotel that's in that area as well. So most folks are familiar with our events that we hold throughout the community primarily, but let me get you to go to the next slide. Just wanted you to get familiar with just the 10 great people that we have that kind of takes care of a lot of our stuff here as a collective for the membership. First and foremost, we have Bob, the CEO. Obviously, a lot of us may know who he is. Pretty much gets around town and makes great partnerships. But the glue to our facility and our organization is Margot Clark, Director of Operations. She pretty much keeps us all together and makes sure that we're doing the things that we need to do. Heather Steitzel, who's our Director of Sales, as well as Gabe Mancera, who is the sales representative underneath Margot. They pretty much are the ones that reach out. You guys probably became chamber members because one of them was reaching out to you to say hello as far as for that. And then once you become involved with the chamber, we have Denise Carey, who's our membership engagement. Pretty much tries to find out what makes things work for you and what's your why as far as becoming a chamber member and kind of getting connected and engaged within our family. Next, we have Jody, who, again, when you're looking at our events calendar and finding out what's the great things to do, the before and after hours, some of our major events, she is that person. She takes a lot on her plate, but she does a great job. And then right underneath her, Sarah, she's actually our events coordinator, so they kind of work in tandem to be able to put on a lot of the great things that we have. Underneath Bob, we have Caitlin Stevens, who is our great person who makes everything look good in terms of our layout, the flyers, the programming. She just does a great job. And she also has Astrid, who is a coordinator under marketing as well. And then right underneath Heather is myself. That would be me. I'm the director, again, community outreach manager, which primarily, let me get you to go to the next slide.
Mhm.
I am primarily responsible for the councils and our committees. And sometimes it may come off a little bit semantics as far as what each one does. I look at it as the committees, they come together and find ways to do things to improve their quality of life for members in the community. So we work on things as a collective, like our ambassadors, education and workforce, and our senior services. Those are our committees. Our councils were just, again, a bunch of individuals come together addressing unique business needs. And you can see we have quite a few of them. What I love about OmniRide, they not only take care of as our sponsor for education and workforce, but they are our sponsor for the Hispanic Council. And one of the things about this council, with this council, we have what you call a meet and greet, where we have a component where there is some networking and we provide food and we do some things to kind of help folks just kind of mingle with one another, and then have a speaker that will kind of come out and speak out there. So one of the people who I had as a chair to this council, Alicio Castaneda, he just got off the screen here. He is one of the chairs, as well as Diana Pegagua. She's an old friend. She was a chair for 7 years, actually helped get this Hispanic Council coming together. So we wanted to focus a little bit on this young member to kind of work more collectively in the community. And what they do is they actually meet bi-monthly. No, you can go to that there.
Okay, sorry.
That's all right. That committee, they meet quarterly, believe it or not, where some of our other committees meet bi-monthly. They will be meeting 5 times out of the year, but this is a great way for you to be able to stay up to date as far as what we do as a collective. One of the things that we're doing this year as well is we have as one of our speakers, but we're now also creating an opportunity for that engagement, but also for this outreach component where we have the chair's guest, where we would have a chair bring a non-member from the Hispanic community into our meeting, so that way they can actually communicate and just kind of build with the family. And hopefully that camaraderie allows these folks to become on board as chamber members. We have to just do a little bit more collective outreach in terms of getting to certain communities. So I'm glad we have our Hispanic Council, and we're just working to improve and working more in tandem with this Hispanic Council. So I appreciate you, Holly, for last slide. I appreciate you guys, allowing me to have the opportunity to speak. But these are the great ways for you to be able to stay in touch with us as a chamber, through our social media pages. Stay engaged with us, and we'll have some great things coming up in this upcoming fiscal year, starting July 1.
Thank you, Eugene. That was amazing. You did it so thoroughly and also quickly. And we're just a little bit over. I did want to give folks the opportunity to ask a question in case they had stayed on this long, just so that they could ask their question. So most of our presenters are still here. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask away. And I am not hearing anyone. So I know, like I said, we're a little bit over. I want to give you your day back, but also let folks know I'm in close contact with all the presenters. If you have a question after the fact and you missed the presenters' contact information, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll make sure to reach out to those folks so we can get answers to your questions. And thanks again so much for your time. Joe, do you have anything you want to say to wrap up?
No, other than thanking everyone for their time, I would just say those job seeker events that you're having at the Palazzo building, I believe Jennifer mentioned those. Hey, take a free OmniRide bus to the Palazzo building because they go there, right? Gabby, with the events that you're putting together and the information you're putting together about how to ride a bus, we have a whole travel training program. There might not be a need to reinvent the wheel here. I would love to get Holly or me to look at some of the stuff that you produced. We also produce stuff. So please, you know, we can talk offline about that stuff. And that's all I have.
Okay, Gabby, I see your hand raised. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I do have a question. So we are getting ready to have our service day, which is gonna be on July 13. Most of our services are gonna be providing some type of workshops, right? So I was thinking perhaps this will be a great idea for us to like create more opportunities within our collaborations. Maybe you guys are open to have like a workshop with, you know, like and talk about OmniRide.
Yeah, I mean, I think wherever it makes sense for us, we want to do it. So let's speak afterwards.
Okay, awesome.
And
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll reach out, Gabby. Yeah, we'll schedule a time to set up a call and we'll figure things out. And Ronnie, I see you've got your hand raised too.
Yeah, thank you for recognizing me. I appreciate it. This is a great presentation. I really enjoyed it. I didn't know you guys were working on these kind of projects. I was talking to Eugene for a while. I didn't realize that you guys had so much influence in the community. So I'm glad to be a part of this. My question does not really revolve around OmniRide, but it's a quick question. I'd like to meet with some of you. I'm working on some Hispanic initiatives for academics, especially at the college level. Is there any I can reach out to any of you and make an appointment and talk when we should have some time?
Please, anytime for me. And I'm sure you probably didn't mean only me, but I'll say yes.
Okay. Yeah, so anyway, I don't want to get into details on it because we're over time, but can you just shoot me your email on chat real quick and I can just take the emails and I can send out the emails. That's okay.
Yep. And I'll reach out to Jennifer, Ronnie. I'm sure that she's fine with me sharing her contact information, but I'll just get her approval before I do so. And so you'll definitely be hearing from me this afternoon and I'll pop mine in the chat right now.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Yeah. What's going on with the chat here? I don't see anything.
There's mine.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. All right. Let me see if I can grab it.
All right. Thank you so much, Rachel, for your nice comments. I know folks have got to go. So I really appreciate you all hanging in. And this was wonderful and absolutely fantastic presentations, really great information and good conversation afterwards. And I can tell that we're going to have a lot of good conversations even after this and live and in person, maybe. That'll be nice.